everyone, and welcome to another aquatic episode of Cooking Corner with Giuseppe CrimiVaroli. Today for you, we're going to be making a nice, easy air fryer salmon. Now in terms of ingredients, you're going to need the following. You're going to need paprika and garlic powder. You're going to need salt and pepper. You're going to need some butter, and you're going to need some salmon. I've got 1 pound here. Now, in terms of hardware, you're going to need the following. You're going to need a cutting board. You're going to need some paper towels. You're going to need an air fryer. You're going to need 2 bowls, one for spices and one for butter. You're going to need a sharp knife. And you're going to need some measuring spoons. Step number 1, as always, is going to be wash your hands. So go ahead and pretend your digits are a couple of silly little salmons and stick them under the water. Then, now that your hands are nice and moist, get some soap and put it on. 2 squirts is my preference. Then, rub all that soap all around on your hands, on the back of the knuckles, in between the fingers, underneath your fingernails. Then stick them back under the water, wash all that soap off. Once you're done, you can turn the water off, flick your fingers out, and you're ready to cook. Moving right along, step number 2 is going to be cut your salmon into fillets and pat them dry with paper towels. Now what you're going to want to do is cut your salmon into however many fillets you want. What I recommend doing is cutting along the stripes. Don't cut across the stripes, cut with the stripes. So, take your sharp knife and cut your salmon into however many fillets. You may need to cut it more than once because of the skin. Now that you've got your desired number of salmon fillets, what you're going to do is rip off a paper towel, like so, and pat the salmon fillets dry. They're going to be very moist, and you want to get all that moisture off of the top. The next step, i.e. step number 3, is going to be melt 1 tablespoon of butter in the microwave and then brush that over your salmon. Now that your 1 tablespoon of butter is melted, you can just pour it over your salmon fillets. And if you have a brush, you can brush it out, but if not, you can just use a fork to spread it. Moving on to step number 4, and step number 4 is going to be season your salmon. Now, for the seasoning for your salmon, what you're going to need to do is measure out a half teaspoon of salt, a half teaspoon of pepper, a half teaspoon of paprika, and a whole teaspoon of garlic powder. Then you can mix those spices up and sprinkle it onto your salmon. Now that your spices are on top of your salmon, you're just kind of massaging into your salmon. Moving on to step number 5. And step number 5 is going to be air fry your salmon. Now, take your air fryer and open it up. Inside my air fryer has these little trays in it. Yours might not. So, what you can do is take some cooking spray and spray those trays before you put the salmon on them, and then add the salmon and turn the air fryer on. Now that your trays have been sprayed, you can add your salmon into them and get to cooking. Now, not all air fryers are the same, so yours might work a little bit differently, but on my air fryer, I can just turn this dial to air fry, and that sets it to 390 degrees. Then I can put these trays in and lower the time to just 10 minutes. Then I hit match cook so both trays are working, and I start it. Now we wait. Now, depending on the size of your salmon fillets, it may take up to an extra 4 minutes to cook. Now that it's been 10 minutes, let's check on our salmon fillets and see how they look. Your salmon fillets should be looking a little something like this, and they look and smell delicious. Now comes the tricky part, which is going to be getting them out and plating them. This is going to be step number 6. Now, to get your salmon fillets out of the buckets and onto the plate is a tricky step. Now, because you sprayed your tray, the salmon should be pretty loose in there. Try and get a fork underneath it so you can ferry it onto the plate. You could also use a spatula for this. Now you have 2 beautifully cooked salmon fillets on your plate. It's time for a taste test. Go ahead and stick your fork in. Break some of that salmon off. A little hot. That is delicious! Now, some of you there at home have been asking me for a quick and easy fish recipe to make in case you were just trying to get into eating fish now. This is the recipe for you. But you don't have to season the fish the way I do. You could add any seasoning you like to it, or you could even marinate it, and then you can air fry it according to the directions in this recipe. That concludes this week's episode of Cooking Corner with Giuseppe CrimiVaroli. If you like the video, or videos like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel. If there's something you want to see on the show, leave it in the comments. And bye-bye now.